Hi everybody, Jake Robinson here again with the Church of Christ Student Center in Weatherford, Oklahoma, also known as the Bulldogs for Christ. Today's message comes from Luke chapter 15. It's the story of the prodigal son. I'm going to start reading in verse 11. It says, "There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, 'Father, give me my share of the estate.' So the father divided his property between them. Not long after that, the younger son got together all that he had, set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in wild living. And after he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in that whole country, and he began to be in need. So he went and he hired himself out to a citizen of that country, who sent him to his fields to feed the pigs." I'm going to stop the story here for a minute and talk about what's just happened. See, this young man does what many of us have tried in vain to do after we've made some mistakes, after we've fallen victim to sin and temptation. What he does is he tries to fix his own problems. Well, the bad thing is, like this young man, in situations like this, we often put more effort into fixing our physical problems than we do the real problem, the spiritual problem of distancing ourselves from our Father. See, even after this young man had gotten a job, his physical problems persisted. He was still hungry. See, so not even his physical problems were fixed, much less his spiritual one. See, verse 16 tells us he longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. But something happens in verse 17. See, he comes to his senses, and he talks to himself, and he reasons with himself, and he says, "How many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am starving to death?" See, he realizes that he can't fix his own problem, but that the only way his problem can be fixed is by returning to his father. So he talks to himself some more, and he says, "I will set out, and I will go back to my father, and I will say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants.' So he got up, and he went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him. He was filled with compassion with him, and he ran to his son. He threw his arms around him, and he kissed him." And that's the point of the story today. That's what I want to get across to you today. It's the thought that, God doesn't want you to fix your problems before you return to Him. Just the opposite. He wants you to return to Him so that He can fix your problems. I'm going to repeat that. See, God doesn't want you to fix your problems before you return to Him. He wants you to return to Him so that He can fix your problems. That's just what we're told here in verse 20. It says, while he was still a long way off, while he still had some work spiritually to do, while he was still imperfect, his father saw him. His father was filled with compassion to him, and his father ran to him, wrapped his arms around him, and kissed him. I hope you have a blessed day.